Update 3.7 came around a whole lot quicker than we even anticipated. Just a 2-week gap separates 3.6 and its Touch the Sky rework, and this admittedly less ambitious patch, but still one that brings an entirely new experience to the infamous 99 boxes heist. Which is where almost all of my focus is going to go in this video, as it's pretty much the bulk of what this update has to offer. So to answer the question set out by the title, did they fix it? Sort of. My overarching feeling after playing this one is that the reworked version of 99 boxes is undoubtedly a better heist, and the team did what they could with the hand they were dealt. Is it now an instant classic though? No, I don't think so. For the most part, it's a fairly faithful rendition of the original, with greater attention to detail in places, 2 significant RNG variations, and a vastly improved entrance method which finally delivers on the wow factor this heist was previously lacking. In other words, they've taken one of the most problematic heists in the game, which was either trivial after the removal of Wi-Fi hacks a few updates ago, or pure torture prior to that, back when parkour was like using steel wool to shower with, and made it decent enough, I suppose. I'm not sure we'd be overly celebrating this version of 99 boxes back at launch, but I am certain it would have never reached those heights of notoriety had it released like this. It's simply unoffensive now, and sometimes that's all you can ask for. Let's dive into exactly what's changed with the allowed gameplay loop first of all. As you can see, almost from the word go, this is not the 99 boxes you knew. Instead, the gang have been Trojan horsed directly into one of the 2 courtyards around the main warehouse, all masked up and ready to go. Instead of completing objectives around the control room, we need to push to reach that location, finding out that the gate is on lockdown, and without a zipline to call upon, as even the favour has been removed from this heist now. We need to instead locate a crane control panel and swing the 100th box around to drop it on the gate, undoubtedly the best new addition to this heist. It's a clever reuse of a similar mechanic on Fear and Greed, except that was to create a bridge. This is to straight up obliterate a wire fence, one of the few genuinely cinematic heist moments we have in Payday 3 as of now, something that was massively toned down when compared to the second game. The spirit of Floyd the Pig lives on within 99 boxes of all heists. Anyway, once inside, you'll be pretty much heisting in reverse, as those components are located in 2 of 3 potential Wixia containers ready for transport, using thermite as we once did before to open these up. Although mercifully, both can be completed at once, as Bile quite logically drops both bags at the same time, with bonus bags of cash to seek out across these wooden boxes, giving you something to do whilst you wait. Also, if you happen to bring along the C4 favour, which now replaces the better thermite drop location, you can just instantly blast your way into these containers without needing to wait out the thermites, probably the dominant strategy for Loud, which will speed this one up even further. The loot degradation mechanic is still a thing, although anecdotally I'd say this has been tapered off somewhat, meaning all we need to do is run both bags simultaneously back to the storage crate we started this heist in, set up the spike strip here, and escape with relative ease. One of the shortest heists in the game these days, with only 6 bonus bags, which doesn't have to be a bad thing in my opinion. Side note, for Loud, cop spawns seem decent enough, pretty much like for like I would guess, as there are no new play spaces really, as we saw with Touch the Sky, although I feel you see more sniper variation, meaning you're not constantly dealing with lads head glitching on the main rooftop like the sweats they are. Also, a byproduct of not needing to spend as much time outside in this variation at least, is a much more close quarters combat experience, which I tend to prefer historically. As I've already hinted at though, this isn't the only version of 99 boxes you'll run into. You're just as likely to see what is essentially a streamlined version of the original heist setup, requiring you to instead start unmasked outside the warehouse and push your way into locating the containers in another courtyard as usual. As it always was, it's a case of finding the coolant vault and hacking a PC to locate the Wixia containers before proceeding onto the courtyard, which we at least get to crash into via the same crane-moving, box-dropping bombshell, helping this one to still stand out. From there though, you'll need to again fetch the thermite and do the usual delivery boy stuff to complete this one, with very few mechanical adjustments to consider. Hell, it even has one of the same escape locations it used to. I suppose it's nice that this has a refined version of the original objective loop, giving players a fair approximation of how it used to play, so it's not lost to time. I mean, I think it might have been better being lost to time, but that's just one man's opinion. More objectively, this is a tougher variation, as the crates will be further apart, you'll need to deal with more sniper coverage, and the usual lack of cover is an issue here. That said, traversal has been improved across these containers, not just by the movement and mantling tweaks earlier this year, but also with a few new prop placements making it easier to get around. Attention to detail I really appreciate. Moving on to stealth, as you guessed, this will also have two variations which are spawn dependent, although I find it odd how one forces you to mask up. Having maskless stealth sort of locked behind random chance feels a bit off to me, although solo that's not too much of an issue as you'll need to climb at some point anyway. Worth noting though that there is a new favour enabling you to remove all civs from the map, making masked up stealth a little easier. Anyway, starting with the courtyard role, again, like with Loud, this is the most significant departure from the old Heist setup, requiring you to locate 4 power boxes like in No Rest to switch off the gate, which we would otherwise drop a big metal box on. Getting into the warehouse has been changed from here though, as you'll now need to locate a guard's fingerprint from one of the security gate buildings, which used to be criminally underutilized in the original version of this heist, searching the coffee cups and keyboards for a decent enough approximation to get inside. Note they've again added a bunch more body hiding spots around this one to make stealth feel a little fairer. Once inside, QR codes are the name of the game again, although as far as I can tell these don't need to be found on guards' waistbands anymore. Instead, there's a few phones left around key points of interest to search, opening up the containers the old-fashioned way, and escaping back to where we started as in Loud. If you instead get the maskless warehouse spawn, your options are slightly more open, and the warehouse itself doesn't seem to be locked down by fingerprint scanners, meaning instead the new objective comes in the form of another paper trail search, needing to scatter them about to locate a clipboard with 4-digit codes on, which just as in Touch the Sky can be photographed for your own convenience. One of these combinations can then be used on the gate to open it up silently. Then, rather than needing QR codes, it's likely a red keycard you'll need to locate, which I found attached to the guards patrolling this area, giving you a way to instantly open up the locked Wixia containers and drag the bags back to the cooling tank. Otherwise, this is fairly like for like in terms of a stealth experience, with the secure zone making it a little bit tricky to properly enjoy the new movement text up around the boxes, as you'll end up ringing the dinner bell if you're not careful. One positive thing to note though is that with these new spawns and security patrols, the blue keycard for the security room tends to be a hell of a lot more accessible than it used to be, which is a massive bonus, as cams on this heist can be a nightmare, especially with the Cerberus modifier active. A quiet improvement which could fly under the radar. In fact, there are quite a few of these more minor adjustments which I think go a long way to improving this heist subtly, such as the removal of those boring and risky Wi-Fi circle hacks, or even adding a shutter button to these rooms in the central warehouse, enabling you to hack the PC in private without immediately putting the guards on high alert or taking up a pager. They've also noted the dominant strategy for entering the warehouse and put a forklift in the way, forcing you to try something different until you make a path inside and can move it. Just a few bits of smart design which go a fair distance to improve the experience for the more observant. Players will also be happy to find out the IP values for this one remain extremely high, falling in the mid-2000s on overkill with all loot, which hasn't been the trend with these remakes and might make this one of the most efficient heists in the game in terms of XP per minute now. As I've said though, for all these praiseworthy additions, fundamentally not that much has changed here on 99 Boxes, especially if you happen to roll into the classic RNG. The wonderful entry method is a standout moment, but aside from that, if you didn't like what this heist offered previously, I doubt you'll like it much more now. Its visual upgrade also feels the least significant we've had so far, although the heist already looked fine. I like the way they've worked to differentiate the warehouse to the rest of the open courtyard by leaning on those softer and brighter tones. More unforgivably though, some of the same bugs that have plagued this heist since close to launch remain, with the crew AI still getting stuck within the geometry of the boxes far too often for my liking. Releasing a heist remake without fixing these glaring, well-documented issues feels like a serious oversight and begs the question, will bugs like these ever be fixed? Fundamentally, I don't see this heist suddenly entering my favourite rotation anytime soon, which has been the case with most of the reworked heists so far, and it also hasn't done anything even close to as significant as, say, Turbid Station, with the addition of a Loud section to a heist previously lacking one, showcasing that this truncated dev time and rapid update release schedule might have come at a cost, which is a shame when 99 Boxes were probably the heist of the four most desperately in need of more than just a paint job. It shows the limitations of this approach to adapting old content, as you can't fix what's already broken, and at times it feels a bit like putting makeup on a pig. Still, with additions like the crane drop, the devs are clearly closer to understanding the sort of moments Payday as a franchise thrives on, and I hope this is something they can replicate more moving forward. So, whilst 99 Boxes is a surefire improvement, it's not about to start shifting copies of Payday 3 anytime soon. So what else did we receive in Update 3.7? Well, not much. It's symptomatic of the timing of this one. July is always a fallow month, courtesy of Swedish labour law, and this is actually significantly more than what we've come to expect from Starbreeze around this time of the year. With that said, it's nice to see a couple more contracts, again with fairly consistent, high-quality rewards. In particular, the new outfit, the Highway Cowboy, is an excellent free addition, which wouldn't look out of place in an old tailor pack from the Payday 2 days. Having this earnable in-game takes us back to a better time if you ask me, well, that's not exactly my preferred style of apparel. I also feel like the contracts required to unlock these are getting steadily less tedious. It's not quite there just yet, I'd like to see the difficulty pushed even further in the future, but something like Wolf's new Truck Stop Gear Challenge, which sees you picking up kills with specific weapons and can be completed in its entirety across a single cook-off for your convenience, is more of what I hope for from this contract system. And you can't go too wrong with simply challenging the player to complete a few thematic heists, as with Satagi's digital damage contract. This is much better in my eyes than encouraging you to repeatedly restart the heist over and over again, as we saw for some contracts previously. However, I don't see these taking up more than an hour and a half to complete, so there's not a whole lot to chase in this update for casual grinders. Finally, there are a few miscellaneous fixes which aren't really worth writing home about, including an alteration to how the heat meter filling up is presented in the player chat box. Not unappreciated, but also not significant enough to get worked up over. Overall, it's great to see the game receiving such consistent updates. It's a world away from where we were previously, although I think there is potentially a bit of a lesson to be learnt here. Not sure how popular a take this is, but I'd be comfortable with the monthly cadence being broken from time to time if it resulted in improved update quality at the end of it. Maybe there's not much else that could be done with 99 boxes, but my gut tells me this will be the least impactful heist rework of the lot, which could have done with a few more weeks of dev time. And with August likely to also suffer somewhat from this vacation period, would it not have made more sense to combine both monthly updates into something more significant? I'd actually love to hear from you guys on this one, because I also see the value of maintaining this cadence, if just to ensure the community takes you at your word, as Starbreeze of old have developed a reputation for saying one thing and doing another. My sense is that trust has been built to the extent that a one-off shift in approach resulting in improved quality would still be well received, but I'd love to know what everyone else thinks, not only of the 99 Boxes remake, but also this sort of more limited update scope. That said, my understanding is that there's much more to come towards the end of summer, so don't let 99 Boxes colour your impression of this period for Payday. A few upcoming releases and the next heist rework have already been heavily teased, and they don't seem too far away. Thanks for watching this video guys, take care and I'll see you all very soon. A huge thank you to my dedicated Patreon backers. If you want to join this crew in going infamous, check out the link below and pledge as little as $2 to see your name in the credits, or get 24-hour early access to future videos and vote on upcoming content. Take care, I'll see you all soon.